Captain Leah Morgan was not afraid of space. She had flown through asteroid fields, faced solar flares, and traveled farther than any human before. But nothing prepared her for what happened on Mission Echo 9. Her ship, Starlight Voyager, was moving smoothly near an unknown star system. Suddenly, alarms screamed. The sky turned red. A powerful energy wave hit the ship from nowhere. Everything shook. Sparks flew across the control room. Leah held the steering tightly, trying to keep control. "Mayday, mayday, this is Captain Morgan of Echo 9, she said into the radio. But no one answered. Then everything went black. Leah woke up on the ground. Her head hurt. Her uniform was torn. The ship had crashed on a strange planet. She looked around. The sky was purple. The trees were tall and black. Red dust floated in the air. No signs of life, no signals, just silence. She stood slowly. Pain shot through her leg. But she could walk. She checked her gear. Her comm device was dead. Food packs, only 2 left. Water, very little. Suddenly, she heard a sound behind her. Leah turned fast, holding a sharp piece of metal like a weapon. Something was moving in the smoke. It stepped forward, tall, strong, skin like silver stone. Glowing blue eyes. It was an alien. Leah froze. The alien didn't move. They stared at each other, both breathing heavily. It raised its arms slowly, showing it had no weapon. Then it pointed to the sky. Leah looked up. A second ship was falling, burning. It hit the ground with a loud crash. Far away, the alien made a sound, low, sad. Then it touched its chest. "Zorvak," it said. Leah understood. It was telling her its name. She nodded slowly. "Leah," she replied. A strange moment of peace passed between them. They were both stranded, both survivors. Hours passed. Leah and Zorvak found shelter inside the broken ship. It wasn't safe, but it was better than outside. Zorvak had a small light device. He fixed it to the wall, and the room glowed softly. Leah sat down, tired and cold. Zorvak gave her a warm blanket-like cloth from his bag. She looked at him, surprised. He only nodded. He didn't speak her language, but his actions were clear. That night, a strange sound came from the forest, a growl deep and long. Leah stood quickly, heart pounding. Zorvak moved to the door, his body tense. He picked up a long metal stick, glowing at the end, his weapon. Leah whispered, "What is it?" Zorvak said nothing. He raised one finger to his lips, telling her to stay silent. Then the sound came again, closer. Something was out there, moving between the trees. Suddenly, red eyes flashed in the dark. Not one, but many. Zorvak stepped forward, blocking Leah. She felt fear rise inside her chest, but the eyes disappeared. The creatures didn't attack, just watched, then left. Leah sat down, shaking. Zorvak turned to her. He placed one hand on his chest, then pointed to her heart. She understood. Stay strong. They were not alone on this planet. There were other things here, dangerous things, and they were watching. Leah looked at Zorvak. A strange thought came into her mind. This alien might be her only chance to survive, and maybe, just maybe, she was his only hope too. As they sat in silence, the forest behind them whispered with unknown sounds, and the stars above remained silent. Cold and far away. The sun on this planet was cold. It didn't give much light, but Leah was awake, watching the horizon. Strange birds with metal-like wings flew across the pink sky. She sat outside the broken ship, tired but thinking. Zorvak walked up behind her. He carried food, strange fruit and glowing mushrooms. He placed them gently on a flat rock near her. Leah looked at the food, then at him. She raised her eyebrows, unsure. Zorvak picked up a piece, bit into it, and swallowed, then smiled. Just a little. Leah copied him. The fruit tasted sweet, almost like honey and fire. For the first time, she smiled too. They had no common words, but they were learning to speak with hands, eyes, and small actions. Zorvak drew in the dirt stars, planets, and shapes Leah didn't understand. She drew Earth, a small circle with a blue dot. They both pointed at the sky. Both wanted to. Go home one day. Leah followed Zorvak into the forest. He showed her where to find clean water. She showed him how to use a filter from her survival kit. Zorvak was impressed. He made a sound like a soft growl. It meant approval. They hunted together. Zorvak used his speed. Leah used traps. Together, they caught a strange lizard creature. They cooked it over fire. It tasted like chicken if. Chicken was made of rubber. Each day, they grew closer. Each night, they sat beside the fire. Sometimes in silence, sometimes laughing, sometimes just watching the stars. Zorvak gave her a small glowing stone. Leah held it, feeling a soft warmth. In her hand, "It's beautiful," she whispered. Zorvak looked into her eyes. Something changed in that moment. But peace didn't last long. On the sixth night, a soft light came from a cave nearby. Leah wanted to check it out. Zorvak warned her not to. He spoke fast in his language, nervous, but she didn't listen. She walked into the cave with her. Flashlight. The walls were covered in strange symbols. Her light flickered. Then she saw it. A glowing plant, hanging like a lantern. She stepped forward and touched it. The plant lit up bright blue. A soft wind moved through the cave. Her skin tingled, her vision blurred. Then everything went still. Zorvak ran into the cave, grabbed her hand and pulled her back. His eyes were wide with fear. He shouted a word over and over. "Theska! Theska!" Leah didn't understand. She felt fine, just a little dizzy. But Zorvak looked at her like something terrible had happened. He touched her forehead, her heart, then pointed to the plant. Then he sat down, quiet and heavy, later that night. Leah couldn't sleep. Her heart was beating faster than normal. Her thoughts were louder in her head. She looked at Zorvak, and suddenly she felt something strange. A wave of emotion hit her. Not her own feelings, his fear, guilt, worry. But also something warm, something like care. She gasped. He looked at her from across the fire and nodded slowly. They had a bond now, somehow. The plant had connected them, mind to mind, feeling to feeling. In the days that followed, their bond grew. They could understand each other. Without words, not full thoughts, just feelings, sadness, happiness, fear, trust, and something more. Something deeper. A connection beyond survival. They worked together like one mind, fixing broken metal, building better shelter. Leah taught Zorvak how to make fire faster. Zorvak showed her how to listen to the forest. One evening, rain began to fall, soft purple rain. Leah stood in it, laughing. Zorvak joined her. The cold drops hit their skin like music. In that moment, under the alien rain, they forgot their pain. They forgot Earth and war and crash sites. They were just two souls, alone but not lonely. That night, the fire burned low. Leah sat close to Zorvak, their shoulders touching. No words were needed. She looked into his glowing eyes and saw no monster, no alien, just someone like her. A lost heart looking for home. But the peace was about to break again. In the middle of the night, Leah woke up. Her stomach was hurting. Not badly, but something felt wrong. Zorvak rushed to her. He placed his hand over her body. His eyes glowed brighter. He stepped back suddenly, confused, shocked, silent. Leah sat up. "What is it?" she whispered. Zorvak spoke only one word in broken English, his voice shaking. "Life." Leah was dreaming, but it didn't feel like a dream. She was floating in the sky, wrapped in blue light. She saw Earth, far away like a small marble. She saw Zorvak, standing on a mountain, calling her name. Then a baby's cry echoed in the sky. She looked down. Her body was glowing. Suddenly she woke up, sweating. Her hands were shaking. Zorvak was beside her, his hand on her shoulder. His eyes were full of fear, but also something else, care. He pointed to her stomach and repeated the word again. "Life." Leah held her breath. She couldn't believe it. It wasn't possible. She was human. He was alien. But deep inside, she knew something had changed. The glowing plant from the cave, the bond between their minds, their closeness. It had done something impossible. Zorvak gave her a stone to bite. It was bitter, but it calmed her shaking body. He sat beside her and drew a picture in the dirt, a circle with two halves, one dark, one light. Then he added a small star between them. Leah stared at it. "Half me, half you," she whispered. Zorvak nodded slowly. The days passed quickly. Her body began to change. She wasn't sick, but she felt stronger, faster. She could sense Zorvak even when he wasn't near. She felt his hunger, his pain, even his happiness one day. She saw through his eyes for a second. A flash. He was in the forest, hiding from something. Then the vision faded. Zorvak returned a few hours later with cuts on his arms. Leah cleaned the wounds without asking. Their bond was no longer just emotional, it was becoming physical, spiritual. They were two, but also one. But the planet was changing too. The weather became violent. Winds howled like angry voices. Red lightning cracked the sky. Animals screamed deep in the jungle. The ground shook at night. The planet was reacting to something. Leah started having strange dreams again. She saw machines buried deep under the ground, old, forgotten, but still alive. She saw a door. Huge, circular, glowing. She didn't know why, but she needed to find it. She told Zorvak. He closed his eyes and nodded. He knew about the door. He had seen it before, long ago. They packed supplies, weapons, and left the broken ship. Zorvak led her through narrow paths and sharp cliffs. Leah's steps were heavy. She held her stomach now and then. The baby was growing fast, too fast. Zorvak helped her walk. Every time she fell, he lifted her. Every time she cried, he sat in silence beside her. They reached a canyon where the air shimmered like glass. Zorvak pressed his hand on a stone. A hidden staircase opened below. Them inside, the air was warm and bright. The walls were metal, old, but still working. Strange lights flickered above. Leah touched one and saw images flash in her mind. Starships, wars, ancient cities, and then a child with glowing skin and human eyes. Her child, Zorvak, caught her as she fell. He placed her gently on the floor and said something in his language, but this time she understood. The child is special. It is chosen. In the middle of the chamber, there was a control panel. Leah stepped forward, not knowing how she could read the symbols, but she could. She pressed her hand to the glass. The room came to life. A map appeared. Stars, paths, portals, and one word in her language. Awakening. Zorvak looked at her. The planet. It sleeps, he said slowly. You wake it. Leah's body glowed brighter. The baby inside her was no longer just part of her. It was connected to the planet, to something old, something powerful. Suddenly, a loud sound echoed through the chamber. A voice, deep and cold, spoke in an unknown tongue. Zorvak stepped back, eyes wide. It comes, he whispered. What comes? Leah asked, breathing hard. Zorvak pointed toward the door. The ones who made me. Leah dreamed of water, endless water, black and shining like glass. She floated in the middle, holding something in her arms, a child, glowing, silent. Watching her with golden eyes above them, stars blinked like ancient watchers. And from below, something was rising. She woke up gasping for air. Her hands flew to her stomach, still there, still real. She wasn't dreaming this part. She was carrying life. But it didn't feel like a normal pregnancy. Her body was changing too quickly. She could feel the baby's heartbeat, not just hear it. Sometimes it felt like two hearts, and sometimes 3. Zorvak watched her silently every day. He helped her walk, eat, rest. He built new shelter near the underground ruins, safer, hidden, warmer. But he rarely smiled now. Something was bothering him, Leah noticed. Tell me, she said. Softly one night, Zorvak hesitated, then drew a symbol in the dirt. It looked like a circle with flames inside. He spoke slowly, carefully. The child is not only new, it is ancient, returned. Leah didn't understand, but her dreams kept growing darker. She saw machines waking up under the ground. She saw a great gate opening in space. And always, the child was at the center of it. One morning, the sky turned. Red, not like a normal sunrise. This was fire in the sky. A ship was falling. Not like hers. This one was big, loud, and full of metal claws. Zorvek watched with horror. "They come," he whispered. Leah stood beside him, her body tense. "Who?" He didn't answer, but in her mind, she saw a memory not hers. A lab, a cage, voices shouting. Zorvak had escaped something. Something cruel. The ship landed far away, shaking the ground. Smoke rose from the trees. Leah grabbed a weapon. A broken piece of her ship turned into a blade. Zorvak gave her a small energy shield. Together, they left the shelter. As they moved, Leah's body hurt. The child was growing faster now. Sometimes she could feel it move. Not like a human baby, but strong, aware. They reached a cliff and saw them, dark figures walking through the jungle, tall like Zorvak but colder, armored hunters. Zorvak growled low. "They seek the child," he said. "Why?" Leah asked. He looked at her, eyes full of guilt. "They created me. They want to use the child to make more." Leah felt sick. This wasn't just about survival anymore. This was about creation and control, and she was the center of it. They hid in an old structure under the trees. Inside, they found carvings on the walls, ancient symbols that looked like both alien and human. Zorvak translated slowly. "Long ago, two stars fell in love. Their child was a bridge, one world to another." Leah touched her stomach. She understood now. The child wasn't an accident. It was part of something bigger, a prophecy, a plan. Suddenly, a sound metal scraping stone. Zorvak pushed her behind a pillar. He raised his weapon. A hunter stepped into the light, its face hidden behind a mask. It scanned the room, then paused. Zorvak attacked. The fight was quick and brutal. Leah tried to help, but her body froze. She felt the child react, sending a pulse through her veins. The hunter fell, smoking and silent. Zorvak rushed to her side. She was shaking. "The baby," she whispered. "It protected me." Zorvak's face showed both pride and fear. "Too strong," he said softly. "Too early." They ran, moving deeper into the ruins. They found a hidden chamber with machines and lights still alive. In the center, a floating cradle, empty, waiting. Leah stepped toward it. The cradle scanned her body, then lit up blue. A voice spoke from the walls in her own language. "Welcome, guardian of the starboard." She looked at Zorvak. "What does it mean?" He stared at the cradle, voice low. "It means the universe is watching." Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from above. The wall behind them cracked. Smoke poured in. Voices shouted. Heavy footsteps marched forward. They had been found. Zorvak raised his weapon, eyes glowing. Leah stepped back, holding her stomach. The child moved again, stronger than before. She whispered only one word. "Run." The jungle burned blue, not with fire, but with light, cold, silent, hunting light. It moved across the trees like hungry eyes searching for one thing. Leah held her breath behind a fallen log. Zorvak stood above her, blade drawn, shield in hand. His glowing eyes locked onto the shadows. The baby inside her shifted again, stronger than before, like it could feel danger coming. They had been running for hours, since the ruins were breached, since the hunters arrived. Leah had seen their faces now, machines under flesh, no soul, no mercy. Zorvak had called them the Ashkari, the ones who built him, the ones who broke him. And now they wanted the child. They think it is a weapon, he had said, but they are wrong. Leah didn't ask what that meant. She just ran, through mud, stone, rain. Her body ached, but her mind was on fire. She could see flashes, visions that weren't hers. The Ashkari building cities, capturing creatures, testing things. She saw a woman with silver eyes trapped in a glass chamber, and behind her, a child, glowing just like hers. She screamed and the vision ended. Zorvak caught her as she stumbled. "Your mind is expanding," he said. "The child is opening." They reached the edge of a cliff below, a massive valley filled with fog. In the center, a black tower rising into the sky. It pulsed with light. "That," Zorvac whispered, is where it ends. What is it? Leah asked. A gate, he replied. A machine left by the ancients. It leads beyond this world. Leah touched her belly. The child kicked gently, like it agreed. They climbed down carefully, step by step. Each stone felt heavier. Then the last, halfway down, the sky flashed. A beam of red light shot from the jungle above. They were spotted. Zorvac pulled her behind a rock. Weapons fired. Beams cracked stone and lit the trees on fire. Zorvac shouted and threw a grenade-like orb. It exploded in blue light, blinding their enemies. They ran again. Leah's legs were weak, her breaths shallow, but her spirit burned like never before. They reached a cave under the tower, inside. An elevator made of light. Zorvac activated it with his blood. The floor rose slowly, surrounded by glass walls. Leah watched the valley fade below. As they reached the top, she saw the truth. The tower was not empty. It was alive. Machines floated in silence, reading data from the air. Pillars hummed softly. In the center, a large seat, like a throne. And behind it, a figure, tall, smooth armor, glowing lines across its face. One eye red, the other black. Welcome, it said. Its voice was layered. Male, female, old, young. You carry the starburn. Zorvac stepped forward. Blade raised. You will not touch them, he growled. The being raised a hand. Zorvac froze, locked in a force field, struggling to move. Leah screamed, trying to run. But the baby inside her pulsed again. The lights in the room flickered, the machines glitched, and the force field around Zorvac shattered like glass. Zorvac charged. The being countered, metal hit energy. Light clashed with shadow. Leah crawled toward the control panel. The baby was guiding her now. She could feel thoughts not her own. Activate the gate, it said. Take me beyond. She pressed her hand on the console. It lit up with symbols, some human, some alien. The tower began to shake. Zorvac was bleeding. Now the being struck hard. But Zorvac never fell. He bought time. He always did. Leah shouted over the noise. I'm opening it. Zorvac looked back at her. His face broken, but proud. A huge ring rose from the floor, spinning with light. Inside it, a tunnel of stars. A portal. The enemy turned toward her now. Do you even know what you carry? It asked. Leah stood tall, holding her belly, eyes burning. Yes, she said. Hope. The being raised its hand again. But this time, the child reacted. Leah's body lit up in white fire. The machine was thrown backward into a wall, screaming. Zorvac pulled Leah into the ring. Everything flashed, light, sound, silence. Weightlessness, and then darkness. But not death. Movement. A new sky. A new world. They had escaped, but not won. The enemy was not destroyed, just delayed, and the child was starting to speak. Asterisk. The new world had no sky, only endless light above, shifting like water. Leah opened her eyes slowly. She was lying on soft silver grass. The air was warm, sweet, and completely silent. Too silent. Zorvac sat nearby. His arms crossed, his face calm but alert. He turned as Leah stirred. The child. It protected us again, he said softly. Leah touched her stomach. The baby moved gently, not in pain, not afraid, just aware. They were not on the old planet anymore. They had stepped through the gate. Now they were in a place between places, a forgotten world called Nirax. Once a home for the ancients, now empty, except for one thing. A ship, massive, floating, hidden deep inside a canyon of crystal walls. Leah saw it in her dream before. Silver wings, a golden core. She had thought it was imagination, but it was real, and it was the only way out. Zorvac had found the entrance hours ago. It's broken, he said, but not dead. Together. They climbed into the belly of the ship. Wires, lights, dust, all waiting to wake up. Leah placed her hand on the control panel. The lights blinked. The ship responded to her. Like it recognized her touch. She is connected to it, Zorvac whispered. She was always meant to find it. They began repairs, using broken tools, old knowledge, and the strange bond between Leah and the ship. Each day, the lights grew brighter. Each night, the ship whispered to her in dreams. It told her what to fix, where to look, how to listen. The baby was helping too, sometimes guiding her hands, sometimes warning her with pain. It was growing. Fast, now strong enough to stretch her skin with sharp movements. Not human, not alien, something beyond both. Then came the signal, a sharp ringing through the air. Zorvak froze. "That is Askari code," he said. "They found the portal." Leah's heart sank. "They're coming here," Zorvak nodded slowly. "They will destroy this place. They will take the child." She stood tall, her body heavy but her will like fire. "Then we leave before they arrive." But the ship wasn't ready. It needed one last part, a core crystal. Zorvak remembered seeing it in a temple nearby. Buried, dangerous, guarded. But without it, they would never fly. Leah wanted to go with him. But her body was too tired now. Her skin glowed softly at night. The child was almost ready. But the world around them was not. Zorvak left at dawn. Leah waited. Building the last pieces of the ship, she sang softly to the baby, songs from Earth, old words her mother used to sing. The baby kicked gently in return, as if listening. Hours passed, then night. No sign of Zorvak, no sound from the forest. Only the ship, humming softly, almost alive. Suddenly, footsteps. Fast, heavy, wrong. Leah grabbed her weapon, stood by the door. It wasn't Zorvak. It was something else. A figure stepped out of the mist. Tall, armored, one red eye glowing, an Eshkari hunter. Not metal like before. This one had skin, soft, pale, almost human. "You have something that belongs to us," it said. Its voice was calm but sharp like a knife. Leah pointed her blade. "You're too late," she said. The hunter tilted its head. "We are never too late." Behind it, more shadows moved, 5, maybe 6, all armed, all watching. Then, a sound, a roar. From the cliffs above, Zorvak leapt from the darkness, crystal in one hand, a burning blade in the other. He struck like lightning. 2 hunters fell, the others scattered. Leah ran to him, grabbed the crystal, and rushed to the ship. Zorvak held the door, blocking the path. "Go," he shouted. "I'll hold them." "No," she cried. "I need you." But he shook his head. "If I fall, you still fly." Leah entered the ship. The baby was glowing now, her body full of light. She placed the crystal in the core. The engine came alive with a deep hum. Lights pulsed, wings moved. The ship was waking up outside, screams and roars. Zorvak was still fighting, but there were too many. Leah stood at the ramp, blade in hand, ready to protect her child. But the ship spoke again. Final energy detected. Launch possible in 60 seconds. And then the baby spoke, not with words, but with a voice inside her mind, calm and strong. "Mother," it said, "let me help." The ship was alive. It breathed like a heart, pulsed like a dream. Leah stood at the edge of the glowing control chamber, her hands on the panels, her skin burning with light. Outside, the world was chaos, fire, footsteps, metal screams, but inside, time had stopped. The child inside her had spoken, not with a mouth, but with thought, with purpose, with power. "Mother," it had said, "let me help." Leah dropped to her knees. Pain hit her like lightning, sharp and endless. This was not just birth. This was awakening. Zorvak burst into the ship, covered in blood and smoke. He saw her and ran forward. "She is ready," he whispered, voice shaking. "She is becoming." He placed his hand on her back. The light around them grew stronger. Machines inside the ship began to bend, hum, and shift. They were reacting to the child. Everything was. The ramp closed, engines roared. The ship lifted slowly, even as enemies fired from the ground. But none could stop it now. In the center chamber, Leah cried out. A wave of light exploded from her body, and in one final breath, the child was born. There was no crying, no sound, only silence. Then a heartbeat, then a soft golden glow. Leah opened her eyes and looked. Down, the child floated just above her arms, eyes closed, skin shining like starlight. Zorvak stepped back, his eyes wide. She is not just ours, he whispered. She is something more. The baby opened her eyes, one blue, one gold. She looked at Leah, then at Zorvak, and then at the ship. The engine surged. The stars outside blinked faster. Leah held her child, tears falling. But they were not tears of fear anymore. They were tears of hope, of something reborn. They escaped the dying planet, flew through stars unknown. The baby did not cry. She simply stared, quiet, awake, like she had seen it all before. Zorvak sat beside Leah, tired and scarred, but peaceful. For the first time they had no enemies chasing them, only questions. Where do we go? Leah asked. Zorvak looked at the stars and answered, where she leads. The ship glided toward an uncharted system, one filled with green worlds, quiet moons, and golden light. The baby reached her hand toward a distant planet. That's where they landed. They built a new home, deep in a quiet valley, full of glowing trees and clear water. Time passed differently there, slower, softer, like the world itself was resting. The child grew quickly. She could speak at 1 year, build machines at 2, stop storms with a thought at 3. They named her Nara. It meant between worlds in Zorvak's language. Nara was kind, curious, strange, powerful. But she was also lonely. She often looked to the stars and said, they're still coming. Leah would hold her hand and whisper, we're ready now. One day, many years later, a ship entered their sky. It was Earth-made human technology. Old and slow, soldiers stepped out. Wearing dark uniforms and cold expressions, they pointed scanners at the valley. At Nara, at Leah. Step back, one of them shouted. Leah stood in front of her daughter. Zorvak appeared behind them, weapon in hand. The soldiers raised their guns. One of them whispered, that's her. The hybrid. Before Leah could speak, Nara stepped forward. She was no longer a child. She looked 12, but her eyes held 1,000 lifetimes. She raised her hand. The air changed. The wind stopped. The ground shook gently. I will not hurt you, she said, unless you try to take what is mine. The soldiers lowered their guns slowly. One of them dropped to his knees. Forgive us, he said. We were told you were dangerous. I am, Nara replied, but only if I must be. The others looked at her like she was not real, like a legend, like a god. That night, Nara sat beside the fire, Leah and Zorvak on either side. She looked into the sky and said something they would never forget. More are coming, she whispered. Not hunters, not soldiers, but others like me. Leah asked softly, children of war? Nara smiled. No, children of hope. The fire burned, the stars watched, and a new chapter of the galaxy quietly began.